Hello everybody, in this episode we are going to do a follow-up video on that laptop UI design that we just did a few days ago. So I know a lot of you requested for me to build this out with code, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to build this out with code, we're going to make it responsive and add a touch of animation to that. So if you want to get started, I highly recommend you to go to the description and get the files. I'm going to put them up to GitHub so we can do it together and follow along. So before we get going, I also want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, web development, and pretty much every creative outlet that you can imagine. You can find some great courses. There's one on becoming a full stack web developer if that's what you're interested in. One of my favorite design courses is on here, and I always come back for it for some tips and tricks. These courses contributed a ton to my success, and I always come back to them whenever I want to extend my skill set. My favorite thing about these courses are that they're straight to the point. I don't have to sit there for 10 or 20 hours to get some valuable information out of them. They're short and sweet, and for me, that's one of the best ways you can learn. If you're a student or you're just curious about learning, you can have access to all of these courses for less than $10 on an annual subscription. You can join by clicking the link in the description, and the first 500 of you will get a 2-month free trial, so you have nothing to lose. Okay, let's have some fun. So the first thing we have here is just the folder with the images. Again, you can get that in the description. So yeah, and we can start from scratch. So we're gonna do an index.html like that. All right, and this is where our HTML goes. Landing page. Perfect. Control save. We're gonna go into the body. Actually, we're leaving the body and we're gonna create a style.css. Okay, to link it, all we have to do is go up here and link it. And there we go. And the font I also used for this one is called the Poppins. And this is one of my new favorites. I love to use it. It's my alternative to Montserrat. So let's copy this. I lost it. Let's go back here. We're gonna, oh, by the way, you can select the font. So Poppins, you can go on fonts.google. And the ones I'm selecting are, no, I press clear all. So I guess I'll show you from scratch. Okay, so I want to customize here and I choose regular and medium as well. So I'm gonna choose both of them. Okay, and then I'll just copy this link tag here and just paste it right above here, above our style sheet. Okay. And we also have this, so I'll just copy this from here and just bring it into our CSS, and I'll just drop it in now. So I'm just gonna go to the body and just add this font family to the body. This is the only one we're gonna use, so we're gonna get rid of this issue from the start of fonts. And also I'll just remove the margins and everything from all the elements by adding the star. So margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing, border box, okay? So this is kind of a small reset, so we don't have any issues in the future. Okay, so let's see what we have here in our body. And the structure is gonna be, we're gonna have a header, we're gonna have a main section with the laptop and some texts, and that's pretty much gonna be it. We're gonna have some background bubbles and yeah. So let's go back here and let's cover, we're gonna do it piece by piece. So we're gonna do the header and then we're gonna build out the CSS, we're gonna do the section and so on and so forth. So the first thing I wanna have is a header. You usually use a header to add your logo, your nav links and things of that sort, okay? So we're gonna do a header here. And in this header, we're gonna actually have a couple of nav links in here. A couple of divs, my apologies. So we're gonna have a div. I can add a dot and say logo container and hit tab. That's gonna create me a div automatically with the class of logo container. And here I'm just gonna drop in the image. So we're gonna go to the images and you can get it by going to logo SVG. And I'll just add a logo alt tag here. Okay, then I'm gonna create the H4 here. This is going to be the class of logo. So this is the actual text logo. And this is called 3 dots. I know, super, super creative. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, still in the header, is going to be the nav. So in the nav, you actually want to put the nav links. And in here, we're just gonna have a UL. I'm gonna give it a class, UL with the class of nav links, okay? And then in here, we're gonna just have an li and an anchor tag that's gonna take us nowhere in this case, but I highly encourage you to add multiple pages to this if you want. And this is just gonna be specs of the laptop, and I hold Shift, Alt, and press down, and that's gonna create 2 more for us. I'm gonna rename these. This one is gonna be products, and this one is gonna be contact, okay? And these should also have a class. Now, if I know my shortcut, which I don't, oh my God, how do you do that? Where you select multiple lines so you can add the classes? I have no idea right now. So I'm just gonna add a class like this and nav link, all right? So these are gonna be the individual nav links, and just paste this like so. Okay, and that should be all. Actually, we have a cart SVG as well. So I'm gonna go outside of this nav, and I'll just add a div with a class of cart like that. I'm gonna just drop in this cart image, cart SVG from here, cart, and hit save. Okay, that's all we have. That's our header. So let's fix this up and make it look nice. So I'm just gonna open this up with live server. If you don't have the extension, you can get it off here in the extension market. Let's open this sucker and let's see what we have. So wow, looks gorgeous, perfect. This is what I wanted. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is I'm gonna go here in the style.css. I'm gonna select the header, and I'm gonna add display flex, and that's gonna move everything in one line. So display flex, like so. There we go, that's gonna move everything in one line. I'm gonna add a width. Let's add a background color. I usually do this, I highly recommend you to do this. Add a background color to all your boxes so you can see what's going on a bit more clearly. So this is gonna be light blue. All right, so this is our whole nav bar, header. Okay, this is our whole header here. So the thing I want to do is in our design, we had some space here on the left and on the right. So around 10% margin. So the way we can do that is we can just make that width, oh no, make that width 90%, like so. Okay, cool. But let's take a look on what happened. Ed, this is not good. We have too much space here and no space here. How can we solve this? Well, we have the magic of margin, and if we set it to auto, that's gonna figure it out for us and we don't have to worry about it. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Now let's fix up these items as well. So I can remove this background, okay? And then move on to the next one. So in the header, we have 3 divs. We have the logo container, nav links, and the cart. So I'm gonna select all of these. This is gonna be logo container. So that's 1. All right. Then we have the nav links and we have the cart. Actually, I can just select nav here, not nav links, because this is the actual child of the header. So I'll select the nav. I'm gonna select the nav and we're gonna select the cart, like so. Cart. All right, perfect. And the thing I want to do is I'm gonna just add a background like we usually do, light blue. So just so we can visualize everything, okay? Copy this, just paste it here, and I'm gonna change the color to something like a greenish color, and this one is gonna be a reddish color. So that's what we have. Oh my goodness. All right, so to stretch these out, all we have to do is add flex 1, and that's all that does is it's gonna take up all the available space left in this 90 width. So flex 1 takes up all the space. As you can see, it took up all the space. Now, it didn't fully take up everything because we have text in the other containers and we have the logo. So it's basically just gonna take up all the space it needs, and it's just gonna leave these like so. Now, what if I wanna make these equal lengths? Well, then I just add flex 1 to all of them. Flex 1, flex 1. That's gonna make everything equal in length, as you can see now. But what I wanna do is I actually wanna stretch the middle one out a bit. So I'm gonna add flex 2 to this one, okay? Whoa, not this one, the middle one. I apologize. There we go. So I'm going to stretch the middle one out because I'm going to need more space here because these are also going to come in one row. So yeah. Okay, that's one. Let's go back to the header a bit and make this a bit larger. So I'm just going to add a height of 10 VH. Okay, there we go. It's a bit larger now. And what I want to do is I actually want to take all of these and put them straight in the center. So to do that in the header, what we can do is we can say align items center. Hit save and take a look. Now everything is aligned in the center in that big 10 VH container. So in that big header, all right, it just took everything and put them in the middle. Okay, so that's all we need there. We can remove these background colors, that's fine. Or yeah, let's remove them so we can see what's going on. Hit save. And now what we can actually do is go up here and I'm just going to select everything. I'm going to select the logo container again. I'm going to select the nav links. Now the nav links is actually what's inside the nav. So this UL, okay, this one. And I'm also going to select the cart. So I'm just going to select all of these because I want to add some styles that are going to repeat themselves, and we don't want to write 10,000 lines of code for no reason. So I'm just going to select all of these, and I want to add display flex to all of them. All right, hit save and take a look. That's going to put the logo with the text one next to each other. It's going to take these and put them one next to each other. And this one was alone, so nobody cares about the poor card, unfortunately. So, okay, that's one. We're also gonna do, let's go down here and let's fix up this one now a bit, all right? So the thing I wanna do is add a font weight and a bit of margin here so we have more space between the logo and the text. So we can go to the logo. Let's go down here and just say logo because we added a class of logo to the text, and we can say font weight. And we can change this to 400, okay? And we can just add a 5 pixel margin to give it a bit more space. So there we go. We have that space ready, up and going. Okay, now to stretch this out, we can select the nav links. So this one again, okay? Let's go down below the nav. Let's do nav links. All right, and all I have to do, this one is display flex already up here, as you can see. So all I have to do down here is just say justify content to space around. Take a look. Perfect. I'm gonna remove the styles and the underline and the dot from there. I'm gonna say list style none. That's gonna remove the dot. And to remove the color of that, what we can do is say nav link. So the individual link. I'm gonna add a color of, let's do 5F5F79. That's the one I used in my design. And we can just increase the font size a bit to 18 pixels, make this a bit larger. And we can say text decoration none. That's gonna get rid of that ugly underline, and it's not getting rid of it. Why you do this to me? Nav link. Okay, let's take a look on why this is not working. Okay, so the reason why this is not working is because I added it to the LI, and the underline is actually happening on the anchor tag. So the list doesn't have that issue. So we can just move everything from here to the A tag. Okay, just copy this and paste it in here. And that should fix our problem. Hit save and look at that, there we go. It's fixed, so that's good. And now what I want to do is I want to move this all the way to its container's end. So to do that, we can just go to the cart and just say justify content flex end. Hit save, take a look, and we moved everything right there. If you want to move these a bit closer, you can just mess around with the header, maybe make the width a bit smaller here, like 80. As you can see, that brings everything a bit closer together. Yeah, and that's all you have to do. It's very easy to modify this. I'm gonna leave it like this for now, even though I actually think the 80 one looks better, but okay, let's just move on. Good, let's move on to the next section with the text and the logo and everything. So below our header, in here, what we can do is we can create a main section. Now, there's a lot of confusion of why would you use a main or a div or whatever. Just use a main where all your site actual content is in, okay? So the header is kind of useless. It's just nav links. Usually you have a nav in there, a logo, burger menu, a footer. Again, it's kind of useless. You just have some additional information about the site and things of that sort. The main is where your actual content is. So what I like to do is just do a main tag in here and just put all my content in here. And if I have multiple pages or sections, I use a section. So, but for this one, we're only going to have one section. So I'm just going to create a section with a class of presentation. All right. And in here, I'm going to have the introduction part and the image. So I'm going to create another class called introduction. Okay. And in here, I'm going to have a couple more divs. So hang around with me. I know this is getting depressive with so many divs. So I'm going to create an intro text, and here we're going to have the actual H1 with laptop for the future. And the P tag is going to be the new 14-inch bezel-less display offering a 4K display again with touch screen. There we go. Hit save. Okay, and that's all we need in here. After our intro text, we're going to do a CTA class, and that all it means is call to action. So that's where my buttons are going to be. And in here, I'm just going to have two buttons, button with a class of CTA select. And this is going to say 14-inch model is selected. And then I'm going to have a button with a class of CTA add. And this is going to say add to cart. Okay, hit save. And after this, let's go outside of the introduction, and we're going to add a cover class. All right. And this is where we're going to have that image cover of our laptop. And that one is the Madebook here. And this is going to say Madebook as well. So what's happening here is we just kind of made two big classes. One is the introduction. As you can see, it highlights it from here to here. And then we have a cover. And the reason why I did this like so is so we can display flex them, and then we can move them one by each side. And then we can kind of worry about whatever is happening here. Yeah, we don't care about that for now. But yeah, that was the idea there. So we can just kind of move back into our style.css. All right, let's see what we have in here. Oh my goodness, this is kind of huge. That's what she said. Let's move on. So in here, we can do a presentation. And I can just display flex. All right, take a look. So now we moved all of them each to one side. And before we actually move on, I think I'm just gonna make this image a bit smaller. So I'm just gonna say cover, image, and I'm gonna add a height of like 60 VH or something to it. Okay, just something like that. Make it a bit smaller. Good, okay, let's go back here. So we added a display flex. The next thing I want to do is kind of do that margin thing that we did up here. So to do that, just add a width of 90%, like so. We can add a margin of auto, a min height of 80 VH. All right, so it's about this height right now. That's good, because this one's 10 VH, this one is 80, so we're gonna have 90, and then we're gonna have the dots to select the laptop down here in the last 10%, or you can add a footer or something in there. Okay, so that's what we have, and then all I'm gonna say is align items center, like so. Hit save, that's gonna align everything vertically for us. Perfect, now do you remember how we can make these bigger or the same size, these divs? We used flex, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna position these with flex, and then we're gonna see how everything looks. So let's go here and add an introduction. Remember, the introduction is, let me just add a background color for you, is this one, all right? And this one is the cover. So here, if I just add a flex 1 now, it stretches all the way. We can also add it to the cover. So I'm gonna do the cover div, and then here I can just add a flex 1, and look at that, that's gonna make it the same, excuse me, the same width. Perfect. Now what I want to do, I'm gonna get rid of this one, like that, hit save. Now I'm just gonna get the intro text, and I'm gonna get the H1. I'm gonna add a font size of 44 pixels, make this way larger. Gorgeous. I'm gonna add a font weight of 500. So we're using the medium one in Poppins. Good, and then, oh, we added a weird linear gradient to the text. So how can we add a linear gradient? Well, what we do is we actually add it to the background first. So say background, linear gradient, and then we're gonna say to right. That's the direction I wanna go, like that. And then I'm gonna do, the colors I used were 4, 9, 4, 9, 69, 64, 4. And then we're gonna do 6F, 6F, 89. Okay, hit save, and look at that. So this is a lighter gray, a darker gray. Add, but I wanted to add it to the text. So what is this bool? Okay, what is this? Well, there's a cool trick that you can use, and we can do it in 2 lines to add gradient to a text. So what you can use is, this is a WebKit, so we're gonna say WebKit, background, clip. All right, we're gonna clip the background to the text. So that's exactly what we're gonna say, text. All right, we're clipping the background to the text. And then what we do is we get the text. We're gonna say WebKit, like that, text, fill color, and we're gonna make that transparent. So the background color actually fills up the text color. Whew. Let's take a look, Looks pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's move on to the intro text P. So our P tag is gonna just have a margin on top of like 5 pixels. Let's do 5 pixels. The font size is gonna be around 22 pixels. And I just took these from the design. So if you're wondering where I took these from, is actually from the design. So 8587772. A better way probably to do this, because I'm gonna repeat this color a lot of times, you can use a variable and store that. But this is a very small project, so it's not actually that necessary. Okay, let's take a look. There we go. That's what we have. Let's grab these buttons and push them down a bit. So we can select that call to action div. We can just add a padding of 50 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels. And if you don't know what this means, basically if you use 4 values here, 50 is the top, just go clockwise. 50 top, right 0, bottom 0, left 0, okay? And as you can see now, we have 50 on top, right 0, bottom 0, left 0. Okay, and then in here, what we can do is get the CTA select. That's the first button here with the 14-inch. And I can just add a border of 2 pixels solid. And we're gonna use this C36CBB color, all right? That's gonna be a nice pinkish color. We're gonna make the background transparent, like that. And we're gonna add the color of the actual text is, I'm just gonna copy this again from here to here. Good, and I'm actually gonna add a fixed width and height to this. So 150 and 50 height. And the cursor is gonna be pointer. Hit save, take a look, that's what we have. And I believe that the actual font doesn't apply to the button. I might be wrong on this. See, I need to inform myself. I don't know everything, but as far as I know, for some reason, it doesn't apply fonts to buttons. So let me just quickly take a look here. Let's try to add this. Is there any change? Or am I blind? You know what? I actually should have moved this back in here so we can kind of see what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, see? Okay, so it actually adds it. That's so strange. Okay, let's go up here and we're gonna add the font here, and I want to make sure all the buttons also have this font. Good. Perfect. All right, let's make this full screen again. Go down here. Let's see the font size. Let's add a font size of 16 pixels. There we go, a bit better. And let's also get the CTA add. All right, CTA add. I'm gonna add a background of C36CBB to this, so the same as we have up here. I'm just gonna kind of copy paste everything from up here and paste it down here. That should be fine. And as you can see, we have that border, so we don't want that border, none. There we go, and the color should be also white. Color, white. Hit save. Perfect, looks good. Okay, let's also add a margin to the right. So how do we add that margin? All right, we learned that top, right, left, bottom. So if I want to have margin only on the right, we can do margin. We can do 30 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels. So that's going to add 30 on top here. Okay, but I also want to add to the right. So top, right, left, bottom left. See, this is a bit confusing even for me. Actually, we have the add to cart selected here. So to add it to the left, that's going to be top, right, left, bottom left. No! So this is the one, okay? The last one. Hit save. Let's take a look. There we go. We added a bit of space. If that was confusing, don't worry. I'm just being very stupid. I'm tired, so I apologize. Okay, so we have that. That's fine. The laptop here is okay. And let me actually show you a very cool trick on how we can add a shadow to this laptop. So what I want to have is, this kind of looks a bit out of place, and I want to have a bit of shadow underneath the laptop. And the way we can do that is, well, let's try, what would we normally do? We would add a box shadow. But if we added box shadow, let's do 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel black, then as you can see, that doesn't look too good. But we can actually add it to the PNG, so the actual image. And that's gonna make it look a bit more in the website here. It's gonna make it look a bit more realistic. And what we're gonna do is add a shadow right below the laptop. So to do that, all we have to do is just add a filter to it. And we can say drop shadow on the filter and just do 0 pixel, 5 pixel, and 3 pixel here. And then we can just give it a black color. Hit save and take a look. Look, we have a shadow right underneath there. So that's super, super cool. So if you want to add a shadow to your PNGs, that's how you can do it. Okay, that's it. Let's add the nice circles because this seems fine. Let's go back here. So we have the section. And to be honest, this one can go outside of the section because it's going to be just kind of some background images. I'm just going to add an image source, and I'm just going to get all of these circles. Big eclipse. Let's get the middle one. Image. It's going to be the... There it is. My mouse cursor is on top of it. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get the small one too. Again, the mouse cursor. Okay. VS Code hates me. Okay, let's see what we have. If we go back in here, and they're right down here. Wow, looks amazing. Okay, and I want to have them on top here. So let's go back to our CSS, and the thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add these in a position absolute, so I can kind of move them around wherever I want. So I'm going to say big circle is going to be a position absolute. I'm going to move it to the top 0, and top 0 pixels, and we're going to say right 0 pixels. Okay, that should move it up to the top. Yeah, it should if I add a class to it of big circle and class of medium circle and class of small circle. And now it should do it. So there it is. Now this is kind of in the front. I don't like it, so I want to move it to the back. To do that, it's kind of like layers in Photoshop. All you have to do is say z index and put -1. That's going to move it to the back. So now the image is on top. Okay, and you know what? This is actually a bit too sharp in my opinion. So I'm gonna raise down the opacity a bit, 0.7. All right, just get rid of it a bit. And I'm gonna make it a bit smaller too. Let's add a height of 80%. Okay, did that make it smaller? I can tell I actually have eye issues. Yeah, it does. 80%, yeah, that's fine. Okay, and now I'm just gonna do it to all of these circles. So I'm gonna do it to the medium one. Let's do a position absolute here as well. Like that. Top, this is gonna be around 30, right around 30, and Z index around minus, this is gonna be -1 as well. I'm gonna change the height to 60% as well. All right, make it a bit smaller. So there we go, that's 1, 2. And the last one is kind of gonna be the same thing. I actually have this one saved in here. So I'm just gonna copy paste them, but mess around with them. Do it however you want. Get creative with this one. Position absolute, bottom, left 20, Z index -1. So there it is. It's kind of faded. It's not that obvious, which is perfect because I don't want this to kind of grab so much attention. Okay, and you know what? Even these are kind of like way too strong. So I can just kind of put down the opacity, 0.5, 0.4 maybe, and this one to like 0.5. All right, hit save, something like that. Yeah, there we go. And lastly, I'm just gonna add the arrows and we're gonna do the drop animation and we're gonna quickly make it into mobile friendly. So to do that, let's go back to our, where's my VS Code? Just go back here and right below the section, I'm just gonna do a laptop select div, laptop select. And then here, I'm gonna have a lot of images. Image, the first one is gonna be the left arrow. Then we're gonna have a dot, image. I'm gonna have a dot. Then we're gonna have a full dot. Let's go get the full dot, dot full. I'm gonna copy this another time. And then we're gonna have the right arrow. So arrow right. Hit save, that's it. Let's quickly style this. And I'm gonna position this absolute as well. So I'm gonna say laptop, select. All right, let's see what we have. Where are you? There it is on the left side. My laptop is blocking the screen. And all I wanna do is I wanna stretch this out. I'm gonna give it a bigger width, 50%. And I'm gonna display this flex. So just basic flex box. Display flex, justify content, space around, like that. And I'm gonna add, let's take a look now, there we go, a position absolute. There we go, so now we can position it however we want. I'm just gonna add a right 20, and there we go, that should be fine. Okay, let's do the drop of the laptop. So to do that, we can add a keyframes. And I can give it a name like drop. And what I want to happen is on 0%, this is basically the starting value of how the animation starts. So you can define like the initial position of it. So I want it to start by not being visible. And I also want to start from it a bit up. So I'm going to say transform, translate Y. I'm going to move this up with like -80 pixels. Okay, just move it a bit up. And when the animation finishes, I'm going to do 100%. I basically want to copy paste these and change this to 1 and this to 0. Okay, we can go back to the cover image here and I'm going to add the animation. So we're going to say animation, the drop, okay, and 1.5 seconds ease. Okay, the name of the animation is drop because we defined it here. And that should be fine. Let's take a look. Boom, there we go. Okay, let's also make this a bit mobile friendly because I don't think it is. Let's press F12 and we can go here to this icon, toggle device, and there we go. Look, that's what we have. Oh my goodness. And we can change here to something like iPhone 10. and that's what we have. So yeah, doesn't look good. So what we can do is I'm gonna just dog this in here and make this way smaller so we can kind of see the code and also work on it at the same time. So there we go. At around, let's take a look. At around this size, it still looks okay. At around here, it doesn't look that good anymore. So what we can do is add a media query to kind of deposition that it doesn't look good anymore. So media screen, that's how we write it, and here we can define a max width on where this should apply. So it should apply around 124 pixels. If I just get the body, add the display none to it, we can actually see this disappear. So as soon as it kind of hits that mark, it's gonna disappear. Okay, so we don't want this to happen though. What I do want to happen is, let's make this even smaller. What I want to happen is I want to get the presentation. I'm going to add a flex direction column to this. So you remember that one? The big presentation div that we had up here. So this one, the one in our main. So this section and this one that we displayed flex. Well, all we have to do is add the flex direction column, and that's going to move them one below each other. And that's all we have to do. We can get the introduction, and I can just add a bit of margin on the top here to make more space. Margin top, I'm gonna say 5 VH, like that, and I'm gonna text align everything in the center, like that. Perfect, look, that's super cool. Good, let's get the intro text and make it smaller. H1, let's make this font size 30 pixels. There we go. Let's also get the paragraph. So intro, text P. This is going to be font size 18 pixels. Good. Okay, let's go to the buttons. We're going to say CTA. Padding is going to be 10 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels on this one. There we go. That's just going to get rid of all that big space because we added it in here so we could make space between the text. But in here on mobile, we don't need that much space. Okay, for this one, like this one looks okay here. If you're going like really small, you can remove them if you want, and then maybe add a burger menu. So in here, you would make a burger menu. You would add a display block to a burger menu. And you would move this away somewhere else. I do have a tutorial on this if you search drop-down menu or something. I think it's even with animation. And I did it, I think, a month ago. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. Good. We can also do, let's do the laptop select. This one, I want to move it to the center. And say bottom 5%. Right, let's do 50%. I'm gonna add a width of 50% as well, something like that. And I'm gonna translate this to 50% and 5%, just to move everything back into its place. Okay, that's one. We can make this image a bit smaller. It's very big. Cover image, I can say height, just make it a bit smaller, 80%. Okay, that messes something up, so let's take a look why. Cover image. Okay, we have the height on here, so I can move it to the container up here, and I can add a height of 100% here. So it takes the height of the cover. Hit save, and now as you can see, everything works fine. Okay, so now I can just mess around with this however I want. Good, so I like to do this, just add the height to the container, and then you just add a percentage to the image. And these ones, these bubbles look okay, but we can just make them less accentuated. Small circle, medium circle, and big circle. And I can just add a opacity of like 0.2 or something. There we go, something like that. Just having it in the background is fine, but not too super visible. And yeah. That's it. Take a look. We built a full-on mobile responsive website. Works perfectly fine. If you're having issues, even when you go down here, so I think if you make this smaller, even smaller, this button doesn't jump that nicely. So what you can do is, let's take a look here. Let's make this super small. Actually, it's not that bad. I thought it was gonna jump here, but it's fine. But if you have some issues with it, you can always just add a media, screen, and max width, and you can just define like 36 pixels, and then you can make additional modifications to this. So there we go. Now you officially know how to do everything. You know how to design out a website, you know how to build it, and I also did a video on hosting it. So you can put all of these together and build out some very cool projects. Let me know if you want to see more of these design and coding websites, because I'm having fun doing them. So just write it down in the comments, and until next time, drop a sub, do the bell, and all the good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.